Tyler Perry, did he or didn't he purchase two major networks? Well, let's talk about it. All right, how are you guys doing out there? I am Peppy, and thank you guys so much for tuning in over here at Peppy's Point of View. We're talking about Tyler Perry, okay? Did he or didn't he, purchase BET as well as VH1? Well, I've talked about this in a previous video, and well, it's back up in the news again. And let's see what we have here. According to the Washington Informer, that's right, that's what I'm reading this from, Tyler Perry reportedly makes history as first African-American to acquire two major television networks. It was this particular article came out yesterday. And a major development for the entertainment industry, BET has become Black-owned once again after 21 years, while VH1 for the first time now also boosts an African-American owner. According to longtime friend and television personality Rolanda Watts, I didn't know they were friends, by the way, Tyler Perry has cemented his place in history by acquiring the two major television networks, making him the first African-American to do so. The acquisition follows the news that Paramount Global has sought to sell a majority stake in BET. Earlier this year, the renowned actor, filmmaker, director, producer, and entrepreneur expressed optimism about purchasing BET, stating his keen interest if it were a possibility. Perry, who had already enjoyed success in collaboration with BET, partnering with his Tyler Perry Studios banner to create the popular streaming service BET Plus, was no stranger to the network. He acknowledged the unexpected nature of the acquisition, stating, "I've been there for 4 years now and had tremendous success. If that is possible, I'm very, very interested in taking as much of it as I can." The exact financial details of the deal have not been disclosed, but experts on this sort of transaction have placed a significant value on the acquisition of the two networks. With the purchase, Perry assumes control over BET Media Group, which includes other networks such as VH1. Since its launch, the BET Plus streaming service has experienced remarkable success. In 2021 alone, BET Plus was responsible for half of the subscribers and nearly all revenue growth for the channel. The platform features a wide range of original films and series from the extensive BET program library, captivating audiences with diverse and engaging content. The acquisition of BET and VH1 marks a significant milestone in the representation and ownership of the entertainment industry. Perry's success as an African-American entrepreneur and his commitment to showcasing diverse stories and voices have paved the way for increased opportunities and inclusivity in the media landscape. As the new owner of these influential networks, Perry is poised to leave an indelible mark on the future of Black-owned media and further amplify underrepresented narratives on a global scale. Well, if it's true, if it's not true, but let's say if it's true, congratulations, Tyler Perry, on your success First of all, there are reports now, and I didn't know that was stating that maybe Tyler Perry's network is at 1 billion right now. He's a billionaire, according to some reports that I have read. And I don't know. I'm congratulations, but there's still kind of like a question mark there. If you remember the previous video I did on this, and when Byron Allen, P. Diddy, and Tyler Perry, they were in talks about acquiring BET, or it was being reported that these three guys, along with some others, I think 50 Cent's name was thrown up in the pool as well. But anywho, I was like, well, if P. Diddy purchases BET, I was like, no, that's not good, because to me, it would just be Bad Boy on steroids, not having that. And if Byron Allen had purchased BET, then the programming will be more of the middle of the road. And for a person such as myself, who really grew up on BET, you have to understand, when people say they grew up on BET, that probably meant from the time they was born all the way up to, their adult life. For some of us out there, we actually remember BET when it was just starting out, okay? And so I'm one of those individuals. When BET kind of first started out, and then it becomes, in more households, cable networks started to pick it up, so on and so forth. And I was able to see BET on my with my cable provider. I don't know if any of you guys out there, but I saw BET go through different channels. At one point in time, it was channel 28. At another time, I think it was channel 32. Then they moved it up to another channel, and so on and so forth. So I've seen, BET go through different channels, through cable providers. And I'm sure some of you guys out there as well. But right now, the BET network that I think it has the same channel it has had for a long time with this particular cable provider. Anywho, moving on from that. And so what I was thinking about with Tyler Perry, I was saying to myself, wait a minute, Tyler. No, Tyler Perry, I put up a question mark, and I'm still putting up a question mark, simply because, Tyler Perry does not have a personality that most people would say for him to be able to, number one, accept criticism. We know about, the back and forth allegedly between him and Oprah Winfrey when he was assisting Oprah Winfrey with her own network. And to be quite honest with you, the only reason why I started watching the old network was because of the have and have nots. So it is what it is. So Tyler Perry definitely, you can say, helped save her network with some good quality programming, because after that I started watching other shows on the old network. And Tyler Perry has said, and you have to understand this, he has said that he did want to eventually own his own network, but when he saw Oprah Winfrey struggling, so to speak, with her network and getting it off the ground, he decided to go over there to help her. But of course, as you know, two, let's say, great minds, they're going to clash in alpha male, alpha female, call them what you want to. But of course, with Oprah Winfrey knowing what she knows as far as television is concerned, she's, have her HuffPo studios, she's been in movies, so on and so forth. She's probably have a certain idea in mind. And then Tyler Perry coming in with his background in media and so on and so forth, he probably understand what works for him. And I'm going to speculate and be willing to be accurate in saying that that's probably where the clashes came from. Maybe it's not that he does not accept criticism as much as it is, hey, this is what works for me. Let me try to do that for you over here. And maybe Oprah is saying, well, no, this is kind of like how I see this particular network working for me, and they clash. I can say in the end of it, it looks like maybe Tyler Perry does win out on this part, because, again, most of us watched the old network because of some of Tyler Perry's shows over there. It just is what it is. And then, of course, you have the Tyler Perry clash between he and Spike Lee. And I'm still feel like that was totally unnecessary and pretty much probably disrespectful on both ends. I think Tyler Perry took more of the high road with it, whereas someone like a Spike Lee pretty much, was definitely, throwing out some blows towards Tyler Perry as far as what his programming looked like. And with Madea, Tyler Perry in a dress, and then some of the themes of his plays in his movies, pretty much some said didn't depict African-American males and African-American females in a positive light. It is what it is on that. Now, how I feel about the Spike Lee and Tyler Perry clash is that Spike Lee at one point in time kept Black Hollywood working. You have to admit that. There are a lot of people that came out of Spike Lee's joint, if you will, and we know them today: Halle Berry, Samuel L. Jackson, so on and so forth. Tisha Campbell. Oh gosh, just so many people that came out of Spike Lee's movie, and they eventually became, successful actors and actresses. And he kept Black Hollywood working. I feel the same way about Tyler Perry. He kept Black Hollywood working. All right. But now, I've never heard of anyone basically saying anything negative about Spike Lee as far as his work ethic is concerned. But now, there have been a lot of reports about Spike Lee and his attitude. It is what it is. I mean, and you can see that even when in his interviews and so on and so forth. And I remember when I was in college, and this is true, like it's what it is. I remember he came to my college, or the university I was attending, to speak. And I am a history and English major, so it was pretty much very big. And it was almost like, our professors were pretty much kind of like telling us to go in a roundabout sort of way. And I flat out told him, I said, nope, not interested, don't want to go, because I'm not Tyler Perry, because Spike Lee is the kind of person who I have experienced when, seeing him in certain interview situations. If he thinks you asked him a dumb question, he's going to tell you it's a dumb question. And why are you asking him this question, or so on and so forth? Like, he's very blunt and direct, sometimes in a condescending manner. That's just how I perceive Spike Lee to be, even though he's very well, a great director and so on and so forth. And I really and truly do admire his work. And Jungle Fever is definitely one of my all-time favorite movies. Moving on from that, as far as keeping Black Hollywood and everything working, I just wish that those two men could have definitely respected what each one was doing, because there were certain things in Spike Lee's films that I would say was not capturing, African-American men and African-American women in a positive light as well. We could go down that rabbit hole if you want to, but I choose not to. So then you have that part of him going through the back and forth with Spike Lee. For the most part, I would like to think that Tyler Perry still came out ahead of that. I think he came out ahead of Oprah Winfrey with that clash. I think he came out ahead with Spike Lee in that clash. But I don't think at the end of the day, and this is where I feel like we need to put the question mark for Tyler Perry, and hopefully he sees this as an opportunity to change that narrative. And that is that at the end of the day, he has been critiqued heavily by those who watch his movies, to the point where, people are saying, oh, well, you cut corners. And we could tell that you cut corners when it came to casting or when it came to wardrobe. And of course, Tyler Perry is saying, well, I don't have time to spend money on this particular wardrobe, on this particular hairstyle. It's just too much time, so on and so forth. And we do understand that. But Tyler Perry also needs to understand that when it comes to what we see, and we feel like you do have the money and the budget not to cut corners. Some people have to cut corners, but it looks like from our perspective on the outside looking in, you are one of those individuals who don't have to cut corners in order to give what we feel is quality movies and so on and so forth. And so when we see that and when we hear that, your response about it is, I would like for it to have been something like, oh, well, I understand that you think this particular hairstyle or this wig or what have you, or this hairpiece is pretty much, inexpensive, and I could have been more, put out more money on it, but that was the part of the character. The character was supposed to look that way. I wish he would have said that, and the character was supposed to look that way, and hair was supposed to look that way, versus saying, no, I went the cheap route with it simply because I just don't have the time to deal with that. So it does, again, look like you're not, receptive to criticism. Then also, too, what we have here, from my standpoint, is we have Tyler Perry now, where we have the Tyler Perry Studios. And a person like me, in the beginning, I was really rooting for Tyler Perry to get that studio because I liked his program so much. Not a studio, but a television network, because I knew to watch Tyler Perry all day long was the it thing for me. But that was during that time. I am definitely burned out on Tyler Perry. But I'm burned out on Tyler Perry because it's my fault. It has nothing to do with him. Some of us are day ones, Tyler Perry, meaning we will watch the play, then we will watch the movie that was turned into, watch the play that was turned into a movie, right? So we go from play to movie, from play to movie, from play to movie. Some of us have done that religiously. And a person like myself, I've done that to the point where now when I watch the plays and the movies, it doesn't necessarily look like Tyler Perry was creative at all. It looks like he took a little bit of this movie and put a little bit of that movie in it, and then he made a big movie, and it looked like he was just rehashing characters in some kind of scenes over and over again and retold the story, but just packaged it differently. It is what it is. Hey, it works. I'm not knocking him on that. What I'm knocking him on was the fact that, for the most part, it just really and truly just became so blah to me until I was just done. Okay. Then, of course, we also have the writers. The writers on the shows that he was doing, he has publicly said it himself. Well, I don't want to spend a lot of money on these writers. They go in, I tell them they come to me with strips, and it looks like it's supposed to be a great strip. I don't like it. Then I got to tell them to go back over and do this over again. That costs me a lot of money. I don't want to put money into that. So I'd rather just do it myself. And I understand that. I promise you, definitely understand wasted time, wasted money. You know what? If you want something done and you want it done right, go ahead on and do it yourself. I understand that. But still, from this point of view, what does this look like now that you are in the driver's seat, if you will, as far as BET is concerned, and VH1 and all the other networks that's up under Black Media Group. So BET Media Group. So we have that. That's pretty much is an issue. I would like to put, a little comma here if I can and say this. While I have to admit that some of the movies that Tyler Perry have out, I was kind of burnt out on, but I do like the movies, the original movies that Tyler Perry plays in. Like, I love Good Deeds. I do. I think Good Deeds is a great movie. I also like the movie where he was playing, the Morgan Freeman character. His wife. What is that movie? I can't think of the movie, but not Axel. What's his name? There's a movie that he plays in, and it's an Alex Cross. That's it. I like Alex Cross. I like that movie a lot. For whatever reason, I like Tyler Perry, the actor. I do not Madea, but Tyler Perry. Sometimes when he plays in those kinds of movies and he's the actor, I really and truly do like those movies. So then you have it. Then you have, the issue between him and Monique. And it basically looked like, again, Monique, even when you tell the story, and Tyler Perry has been, pretty much tight-lipped about what was going on, did not make Tyler Perry look good creatively at all. And these are all of the things that I'm talking about are things from a creative standpoint, not who's right or wrong. And, well, at this moment in time, it makes you wonder, what will BET and VH1 look like? You also have to understand this, and I don't think a lot of people have thought about this. We're talking about programming, okay? We're talking about television shows. But here's something else most people have not thought about when it comes to VH1 and BET. Music. We're not thinking about music. What will the music programming look like as well? Because Tyler Perry, he's also a guy who, he has music in his plays. So he might also have a take on what kind of music and how he wants music to sound and what kind of music that he wants played on these channels. Do you understand? Like, he is definitely in the driver's seat now when it becomes all media. You have to understand, we're talking about, oh my gosh, I didn't think about that. We're talking about television program. We're talking about news. We're talking about music. Some of these shows probably have, I don't know, maybe I haven't watched them in a while, but you have that religious part to it as well, where you have some churches, in some of these mega churches, they have programmings on television. I don't know if they have them on BET still, because back in the day it was Bobby Jones Gospel. But, you have to look at this now as a whole. So, of course, Tyler Perry is someone who has had and who has had his hands in all of these things. But when you look at them from a particular perspective, when you look at him as a creative individual, things that make you go, And that's where I am with Tyler Perry. It's more about things that make you go, when it comes to all of these programming and all of these people he has to now interact with, if in fact this deal is true. And I don't know. But I will say this and end, because I try to keep these videos to about 30 minutes. But I will say this. I would say, at this moment in time, for whom much is given, much is required. And if, in fact, he's placing himself as a majority stake owner, that he's the owner of these things, the majority stake owner, I think it would be safe for him now to pretty much move over to more of an executive standpoint, sit in those seats or that seat, and have what I would consider more of a mentor-mentee relationship with, individuals where they are now creative. There's a lot of creativeness out there. There's a lot of great young minds. There are a lot of great middle of the age mind. And there's a lot of older minds, if you will, thanks to social media in this day and time, where people can definitely get these opportunities, to do certain things and to give it a fresh look and a fresh face, if you will. And so that's where I am looking more for Tyler Perry to go down that road in order for, it to be, kind of have diverse programming. Okay. Now, coming from, brown and black skin, an African-American background, if you will, then people don't understand this, but there's a lot of diversity in just the black community as a whole. We tend to marginalize, we tend to put ourselves in a box, but there's there's definitely variety there when it comes to black entertainment television. We just have to, pretty much, take advantage of it and see sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees. And it's time now, I think, to see the forest. So basically what I'm saying is, in a long story short, took me 25 minutes to say it, is that, it's time not to be the writer, producer, the editor, and all of those things, in what you do. I think it's time now, Tyler, to place people in these positions who, are very creative, and not as Monique said, and then they leave the room. I mean, that was a good one, Monique. Wow, like he really did that. So that's it as well. Now, here's something else that I want to bring up. A side note. Speaking of Monique, hopefully, being that he is in this position, if in fact it is true, if Rolanda Watts, a friend of his, is saying it, I want to believe that it is true, then I hope that he and Monique definitely can work together again. I hope so. I hope to see Monique back over at BET. I love the Monique show, especially when she was do the juke joint. When she had the old school artists on there. Of course, she had like Sherelle on there, Mickey Howard, Angela Winbush, Lenny Williams. Oh, she had Vesta. Like, I really and truly look forward to that. So hopefully Monique and Tyler Perry can definitely work together, again, and bring Monique back home to BET. It will be great, and pay her. Speaking of which, now let's end on this. Speaking of being paid, I know that there's going to be some shakeup over there if this is true. It is. It's just what it is. It's anybody. New management, a company taking over. Sometimes some people it's more of the same, and people are okay with that. And then for some, it's kind of like, oh no, I'm getting rid of a lot of people. I'm doing a lot of things differently. For me, I would say if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. Definitely. And I think hopefully sometimes, I'm just interested. I'm gonna leave it right here. Yeah, I'm gonna stop right here, and I'm going to say this for an upcoming, particular video. When let's just see if this is true. Who stays and who goes? Right? Let's talk about that. What does that look like? In the next video, because I'm sure some people who we don't know about in the news, who are not always in the news, and then we'll find out where this head of this department and this so and so person, they're no longer there. He's been moving people out of the way and getting rid of some things and bringing these things in. Like, that's a whole nother topic. So anyway, I want to say thank you guys so much for watching over here. And I really and truly do appreciate it. You guys know that I do. And I thank you guys so much. So if you have reached this point in the video, I think that it is appropriate to ask you, if you like the video, to go ahead on and hit the subscribe button. I really and truly do appreciate your support in that area. Thank you so much. As well as leave a comment and tell me what you think about this particular situation. Will Tyler Perry be a good fit, and will he do a great job, or do you think this is not a good transaction to be had? Anywho, also follow me on my social media platforms. I'm asking people if it would not to follow, not to send out friends requests to my personal Facebook page, because I'm trying to get those people over to Pepe's Point of View page. All right. So I'm trying to build that up, Pepe's Point of View page, where I do talk about R&B divas. And over here, I talk about R&B divas, but you can sure follow me, Kareem Jones, over on Instagram, and also follow Pepe's Point of View on TikTok. Again, I thank you guys so much for your support. I do over here. I believe in putting your behind where your heart desires to be. I hope that you're doing that. If you want to sing, sing. If you want to write, write. If you want to be an actor, act. You understand where I'm going. Do that. Also, too, remember, whenever I leave my mother's presence, she always says to me, she says, baby, remember, I love you, but God loves you best. I want to say, again, I love you guys out there so much. Make sure that you love yourself, because that's definitely is important. And on that note, I am looking forward to seeing you all next video. Until then, you all know what to do. Take care of yourselves out there. All right.